from What's Up Family Home, and today I'm going to can some pork and make some BBQ pulled pork. And this has been requested by a lot of people, so I thought I would make a video. I did not get a huge roast because I already have a lot back there, but I wanted to go ahead and make a video and can at least 3 or 4. You need at least 2 cans or 2 jars in your canner, and I would say even 3. So hopefully I'll get at least 3 jars out of this. And it's got a small bone in it, but not that much. But the directions say a 4 to 5 pound boneless pork shoulder roast, Boston butt cut into large chunks. So hopefully I'll get that out of it. But I just wanted to show you what I got. This is the one that I got. It's in the container, but usually it's just wrapped up, one big huge Boston butt wrapped up in plastic, not in one of these trays. So this one is only a little over 3 pounds, 3.11 pounds. So hopefully I'll get 3 jars out of it. I just wanted to show you guys this recipe because it's so delicious. You really need to make this, and I'll have the recipe link down below as well. So let's get started, and I'm going to cut up this Boston butt. And I've already got the sauce in here. This is the sauce, and you want to mix that together, except everything but the pulled pork. So it's 1.5 cups of chopped onion. I used 1 large onion and it was perfect. 1.5 cups of ketchup. Half a cup of half a cup firmly packed light brown sugar. 1/2 cup apple cider vinegar. 2 tablespoons Worcestershire sauce. 2 tablespoons brown mustard. 2 tablespoons honey. 3 garlic cloves, which I don't put garlic in mine, but you can. And the Boston butt. So I've mixed this together, and now I'm going to cut up the pork. And I'm going to add the pork after this and bring it to a boil. So we'll get to that in a minute. Got my jars washed here. Well, I'm going to wash my jars. They're in hot, soapy water. You do not have to sterilize your jars if you're doing a recipe more than 10 minutes. You need your jars washed in really hot soapy water with your lids and your rings. So I'm going to chop up the pork and I'll come back. All right, y'all, this looks really good already. Look at the onions and everything. It looks and smells amazing. And this barbecue sauce is good. Even if you don't can, you can make that barbecue sauce. It's so good. So it said to use a steel pan, not an aluminum pan, and be sure that you make sure you stir it because it will scorch the bottom because of all the sugars in there. So it said come to a boil and simmer for 5 minutes. So I'm going to do that. I've got my canner ready. It's got 12 cups of water per my canner. You'll have to go by your directions, but if you've got the big Presto, I've got 12 cups of water in here, and I've got my lids. And they're not supposed to boil. You just want it to simmer and get those jars nice and hot because you want hot food in hot jars. So make sure you do that, and also make sure you do 1 jar at a time. Don't fill up all the 4 jars at the same time or how many you use. Don't do that. That's called staging, and you're not supposed to do that. The ball book says about 6 pints or 3 quarts, but that's usually wrong. So hopefully I will get at least 4 small pints, and I can always wash more jars if I need to. So this water is simmering, so I'm going to turn down the heat, and I'll come back whenever we're ready to can everything up. Okay, the barbecue pork has simmered for 5 minutes, and I've got it sitting here. I've got a funnel. I've got a glass bowl here that I like to set my jar on so it will catch some of the mess. I've got my jar lifter. I can't find my other one, so I might have to use this one. It's broken. And I've got that little tool. Mouse Toes on YouTube calls that a Pokey Joe. I think it's so funny, but I'm not sure. But it takes the air bubbles out, so I'll show you that in a minute. And I've got a paper towel wet so I can wipe off the rim. So, and I've got my jars and rings over there in hot water. You don't have to do that, but I like to still do it. So I'm going to take a jar. And I'm going to take it out. I've got the hot water sitting in it. I'm just going to take that water out, keep it hot. Put it in my jar, my hot jar and my hot food. Doing 1 jar at a time. So I'm going to put the pork and the barbecue sauce in here, and it's 1 inch head space. Sometimes you have too much pork, sometimes you have too much barbecue sauce. I don't know why it works out different every time, but make sure you take barbecue sauce too with your pork. Okay, I'll lift my jar up. And this tool also tells you the head space. So if you put it down here where the bottom of that tip touches, that is 1 inch. And it's usually right here. So you want to fill that to 1 inch. So now I'm going to put the sauce in there. So I'm going to grab a cup. I usually use a coffee cup. Sometimes it's a little messy, but it's okay. To pour the sauce in there. Then you want to make sure you poke Pokey Joe down in there and get all those air bubbles out. You can pull in that way, pull in this way on the sides. Make sure you got all those bubbles out. Then you can put your level there, and it needs just a little bit more sauce, just a little tiny bit. And then I see it comes to the rim, so I know that that is 1 inch. So I'm going to wipe down the lid. I'm going to put a lid on there and a ring, and only fingertip tight. Just a little bit of pressure, not screwed on really tight, but fingertip tight. So that one is ready. So I'm just going to put that in here. And I'll do the next one, and when I'm finished, I will show you the next step. All right, y'all, I am telling y'all, I used every bit of that sauce. I had to scrape it out with a spatula. I just barely had enough to make 4 jars, just barely. So if it was me next time, I will double the sauce and just use the same amount of meat. And that way you can make sure you have the right amount of sauce. So I got 4 jars, barely. So now I am going to turn up my heat on my canner. I also put just a little dribble of vinegar in here just to cut down on the grease. So I'm going to turn the heat up. Got my heat on. I'll go ahead and put it on high. And we're going to wait till this steam comes out of here for 10 minutes. And then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, y'all. It has been a steady stream for 10 minutes. So I'm going to take my weight, a 5 pound weight. I'm going to put it on there. And I'm going to wait till it comes to 10 pounds of pressure in my area. You have to look and see what area you're in and how much pressure you need to use. And usually when the pressure comes on, this will rock and that will pop up. Probably that will pop up before it starts to rock, but it might take a while. Sometimes it scares me. I'm like, is it ever going to go up? But it does. So I'm going to wait till we get to 10 pound pressure. And then I'm going to start the timer for 75 minutes, and then we'll come back. Okay, after they processed for 75 minutes, I took the canner off the heat and let it come down to pressure. As soon as it came down to pressure, I waited 5 minutes. I took off the lid and waited 10 more minutes. All right, y'all, it's been 10 minutes. We can get them out of the canner and put them on the countertop. I have a towel laid down. Make sure there's no drafts. And these will sit undisturbed for at least 12 hours to 24 hours. I would check it at 12 hours because you could always reprocess. But after 24 hours, you cannot. So make sure you check it. And if it doesn't seal within 24 hours, you need to put it in the refrigerator and eat it as quick as possible. You are going to love this barbecue. It's delicious. It's so fork tender, and you will love having this on your shelf. So I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, just let me know down below. And I hope if you're not subscribed, you will be. And I'll see you guys in the next video.